Greetings, YouTube. Almost all of us are a member of a family. Could be a biological family, could be a family that you've created through marriage or through friendship. It could be a non-traditional family, a group of people that you consider friends that support each other. And if you extend that far enough out, we are all members of the human family. And all of these things are based on relationships. And for example, if someone were to befriend me, they get to know me, we spend, a few weeks, maybe a couple of months to really get to know each other. We seem solid, and then after like the 3-month mark, I go to make contact with the person and they're just gone. Now, I may try to make contact with them again. I'm a generous guy. But eventually I'm going to stop trying to make contact with them. Because even though they started a relationship, they didn't continue it. A relationship is a continuing process. It is not something you start with or you were born into and then you're done. It is a process that involves work on the part of all the people involved in the relationships. Whether they're monetary, I guess monetary too. And whether they're platonic, romantic, or familial. They all require some level of interaction and involvement and investment of the members involved. So why am I bringing this up? Well, I've come to view democracy as a relationship. It isn't something you can just put effort into once, say you're good, and walk away. That's not how it works. If you only stop by once every few years to vote and then walk away, it's still not enough. You're doing the absolute minimum to maintain the concept that you are in a relationship, but you are not maintaining a healthy relationship. Democracy means that we have to be engaged with each other on a regular basis. And one of the things I've seen in America, at least, particularly in some of the libertarian strains and the anarchist strains of political thought, is the leave me alone. I want nothing to do with you folks. Leave me alone. And they seem to be viewing the relationship with democracy as the democracy grants me the right to not be bothered. But that's like the relationship I talked about earlier, where someone would establish a relationship and then they walked away. The relationship ends if you are not constantly involved and constantly invested in it. And that works if whether you're a libertarian or an anarchist. If you are not constantly engaged in that, you are not actually part of the democratic process. You are failing in your role in democracy. Democracy does not say, leave me alone. Democracy says, we are all in this together. It is we the people, not I the individual. And too much of that, bootstrappy philosophy that I've constantly encountered is about the individual. The individual's right to be left alone, to have nothing to do with government, nothing to do with anyone else. They just want everyone to leave them alone, and they don't want to pay any taxes. They want any involvement with anybody else, because if I can take care of myself, well then, so can everybody else. Except, of course, they didn't. Our democracy has made sure that they have roads and lights and police and fire and a military and a coast guard and parks and a school system and a library system and the entire infrastructure that our democracy has built. But they don't want to be involved in the part where it has to pay for that. They see it as a purely financial engagement. That if they don't use these things, they shouldn't have to pay for them. But they have used them, and they are using them, and they will continue to use them until they die. There is no way for you to take yourself completely out of the social construct and go off and live by yourself. It just isn't possible any longer. Unless you're going to pick yourself up and move yourself to the asteroid belt or Mars, where you can then start all by yourself, you would, that might work. But you'd still be using resources from here. Resources that belong to all of us, not just to those who want to say, leave me alone. Now, I'm a socialist. I believe that Our democracy is a relationship. I believe in we the people, that we can do more together than any individual can apart. That no individual made it to the moon. We did this together. And that for the private sector cannot be trusted with anything. We have seen over the course of 300 years, 400 years of private businesses doing everything in their power to lie, cheat, steal, poison, maim, enslave, and murder. This is what they do, and they do it in the name of coin, of cash, of profit. We, the people, have to protect each other. We, the people, have to work together to accomplish great things, to make sure that all of us have what we need to survive. Now, I've used the analogy in the past that I often consider libertarians to be spoiled teenagers. They want to lock themselves in the room and say, leave me alone, I don't want to do my chores. Ignoring the fact that they're sitting in a room that was paid by for someone else, that in a country whose infrastructure was paid by someone else. But they don't want to be involved. They don't want to pay back to the system that has taken care of them until now, because they're selfish, they're childish. Because they have not matured to the point where they realize we are all in this together. And I have matured to the point in my life where I have understood this. I dabbled in libertarian concepts for about 4 months, when I realized, wow, this is bullshit. Because you can't be that rugged individual. It doesn't exist anymore. Can you do more things for yourself than some other people? Probably. That doesn't make you better, though. Not if you're not engaged with your society and with the democratic process. If you're not part of us, then you are failing in your relationship to your society, to your country, to your democracy. Democracy is a relationship, and it requires constant work and effort. You cannot just engage within it at Thanksgiving and Christmas and think you're done. That's not how it works. If you want a healthy relationship, it's a constant thing. I love being married. I love my wife more than anyone else in the universe. But my marriage is an effort. Is it easier with my wife than anyone else? Yes, it is. That's because we have a good marriage. And we love each other. But it still takes effort. And I'm still learning and growing. But we're in it together. We don't live separate lives, even though we have separate pastimes occasionally. She doesn't build any weapons, and I don't crochet. She has friends, and I have friends. And that's okay. We can do individual things without leading individual lives. And that's what a lot of the libertarian anarchy political views, to me, seem to fail to understand. You can endorse individualism without being isolationist. But you have to be part of the process. You have to remember you are part of our family. And we are all in this together. As a society, as a nation, as a race, as a species. So I'm asking people to mature, to wake up, and accept the responsibility of being a member of our family.